In the summer of 2008, commodity cook-offs were held on 5 reservations in the Mountain Plains region. The goal was to work locally with the Food and Nutrition Service, Indian Health Service, special diabetes programs, and the food distribution programs to develop nutrition education, network best practices, and to disseminate the materials regionally and nationally. The Mountain Plains Region Nutrition Advisory Committee has a unique and focused approach to providing culturally sensitive nutritional education across Indian country. The committee is composed of members who represent the 30 tribes in the Mountain Plains region and a member who serves as liaison between the Mountain Plains Region Nutrition Advisory Committee and the National Association of Food Distribution Programs on Indian Reservations. The overall goal of past and current activities has been to incorporate culture into activities that may be duplicated in any Native community. These activities are based on the culture of the community as well as the culture of poverty that appears to have affected the majority of the reservation populations. The outreach activities in the form of a cook-off contest were culturally important to each area, specific to youths and adults. This video program, cookbooks, and health promotion materials developed through the project are disseminated among Mountain Plains Region food distribution programs on Indian reservations and its participants. Cook-offs were held in coordination with local celebrations when possible to document the culture of the community. All recipes used in the cook-offs will become part of a cookbook that will be disseminated regionally to commodity program participants. The Mountain Plains Region Food Distribution Program serves 30 reservations in Montana, North and South Dakota, Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, and Kansas. Over 21,000 families are served on average per month with nutritious canned and fresh fruits and vegetables and frozen meats. The program no longer uses generic white labels. Participants can be sure the products are the same high quality as they see in their local markets. The program also seeks out low salt, lower sugar, and fat products that contribute to a healthy diet. Join us now for the cook-offs from the 5 selected reservations. Many generations ago, in the memories of elders, it was said that a great monster spirit lived in what is today called Devil's Lake. The name given the lake is Minnewakan, Mini meaning water, and Wakan meaning spirit or spirit lake. When settlers first came here, the ancestors told them Spirit Lake is bad, referring to the fact that the water is salty and not suitable for drinking. But the interpretation given it by the whites was Bad Spirit Lake or Devil's Lake, and thus the name has come down as an unfortunate translation. In the summer of 2008, commodity cook-offs were held on 5 reservations in the Mountain Plains region of the USDA Food and Nutrition Service Commodity Distribution Program. Judges were a mix of tribal council members, local celebrities, and commodity program employees from the region. Participants were encouraged to try using commodities in different ways and think about nutritional content, entering dishes low in salt, fat, and sugar, recipes that contribute to a healthy diet. Each participant program determined the categories and prizes. Spirit Lake was the first program to hold a cook-off, and the community enthusiastically participated. The recipes had to contain at least 2 commodity foods, but seasonings and spices could be used to enhance flavor and appearance. Judges scored the entries on use of commodity foods, appearance, taste, and nutritional content. Recipes were prepared fresh on the day of the contest and brought to the site with an ingredients list. The executive chef of the Spirit Lake Casino provided a cooking demonstration while the judges made their decisions.
What we're going to do today is we're going to be making an Asian stir fry, and I'm going to do this with almost 100% of the commodities that are offered here to the Spirit Lake Nation. We're going to be doing a beef stir fry again. Like I said, I have a beautiful piece of top round that, from what I understand, Mary tells me is offered in the commodity area, and she's given it to me to use today. So we're going to do that for you, and we're also going to make some rice. After we're done, I believe, once the judging, and there'll be a little feed over here, I believe there'll be some buffalo burgers, some beef stir fry, and some rice for you to taste. So again, it's really exciting for me. I've seen a lot of the items that everybody's brought in, and they really look delicious. Hopefully, if I can stick around before I have to go back to the casino, I'll be able to taste them with you. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to make the rice, because the rice has to sit for a little bit while we're making everything else. Traditionally, if you're making a nice batch of rice, it'll take about 20 minutes to cook with the commodity rice, because it's not one of those boil-in-the-bag minute rices. I like to use onions in my rice, so what I'm doing is I've preheated my pan, and I'm going to now peel and cut my onion. Now I'm only making a couple servings, so I'm only going to use about a half of this onion. And what I'm going to do is I'm taking the skin off, and I'm doing a little cutting technique, and I'd be more than happy to show everybody, where I slice the onion down the side, then I slice the onion down through the top, and as I run my knife through it, it comes out with a perfectly fine dice. Perfectly fine, square, uniform dice. So that if you really want to be a gourmet when you're at home cooking for yourselves, or for your mom, or for your dad, or for your friends, you can put a little extra flair on it and make everything nice and uniform for yourselves. I'm just using a little bit of the commodity salad oil right here in this pan, just as a cooking medium, so we can sweat the onions a little bit that we're going to be putting in there. And I'm just going to sweat them a little bit, toss them around a little bit, let the heat get to them. I'm not trying to caramelize them or burn them. I just want to kind of let some of the flavor of the onion loose, so that when we put the rice in and add the broth, the onion flavor will infuse into the broth. Now what I'm using today for broth for the rice is just going to be water. But if you'd like, if you go to your grocery store, you can get a little bit of chicken bouillon and put it in there. It'll give it a little chicken flavor for you, or beef bouillon, the little bouillon cubes. They work very nice if you just dissolve them in water. So you see they're pretty much all the same size, all the same thickness, all the same width, because we want them all to cook together. We want them to marry each other in the dish, so that everything comes out with a perfect consistency. I'm just going to take a peek here. My fire is still on the rice, so we are doing good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the meat that we're going to be using and how to cut it, and give you a little tip on tenderness. Again, this meat is available in the commodity. It's a beautiful piece of meat. Very nice, 2.5, 3 pound roast here. I mean, and it's very versatile, especially in the commodity area. You can do stir fries, you can do roasts, you can cut these in little steaks and brown them off. I mean, the sky is really the limit with this. And if you're even interested in doing a recipe, just go online and find yourself some recipes with little beef roasts. And with the commodities that are offered here, there are so many. The sky's the limit with recipes that you could make. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this beef up for the stir fry now. Now I don't know if you can see from there, but if you looked up close on the meat itself, the meat has a grain to it. It's running a certain way. The grain here in this meat is running this way. Now, This piece of, sometimes pieces of meat require a little extra cooking, and you want to make sure that when you're cutting meats like this roast here and/or like a corned beef brisket or a corned beef roast, you want to cut against the grain. If I cut with the grain and I cook this, it's going to be shoe leather. So that's why you want to cut against the grain. So you see my lines are going this way, so I'm cutting this way. Make sure I clean off this knife here real quick. Okay. Let's see. Again, the grain, we're cutting against the grain. So I'm just going to go ahead down through there, and cut myself some nice little pieces about this big. And I don't need to use it all because we're only doing like for 2 people. So everything I want the same size. Because I just think a very uniform dish looks nice too. And not only do you want it to taste good, but you want it to look good too. So we're going to cut those up into strips. And again, thin strips, just like the vegetables. As you notice, I used a different cutting board. For those of you who are wondering why, you want to make sure when you're home cooking, you do not want to cross-contaminate your foods. You do not want to cut your beef with on the same cutting board that you cut your vegetables on, or vice versa. If I cut my meat right now and then I decided to cut my vegetables on the same board, the cross-contamination of the meat would be crossing over to the vegetables, and that could possibly become an unhealthy situation for you. What I'm going to do is I'm just taking a little salad oil and I'm going to squirt it in the pan. Make sure the oil gets a little hot, because when you're doing a stir fry, it's very important to have the pan super hot. If it's not super hot, you're going to be stewing the meat or making a stew fry rather than a stir fry. What we want to do is we want to sear the meat quickly, sear in the flavor, make sure it stays tender, and like I said, cook it quick. So, I know these pans are hot because they've been on since about 10:30. So I'm going to go ahead and make these quick little stir fries for you. Okay, what I do first is I start off with the meat. Yep, I hear a sizzle. If you don't hear a sizzle when you throw your meat in the pan, your pan is not hot enough. And again, what we're trying to do is we want to sear the meat, sear the flavor in. I like to season my meat as soon as I put it in, so I'm just going to take a little salt, a little fresh ground pepper. I like to use fresh ground pepper. And this is almost like we do it in the View, except we do it in one of these type of pans. Now I'll go to my vegetables. And again, like I said, they're all the same size. I think what I might do first is just toss your meat around a little bit. And then if you can't see it right now, but it's getting nice and brown in there. You want to get a nice brown color on your meat. Gives a nice look to it. And again, it's searing in the flavor for you. Okay, so next I'm going to put in my vegetables. Now some of these vegetables also have different textures. There's so many things you got to think about when you're cooking. The celery is harder than the green pepper or the red pepper. The carrot is harder than the celery, or oh my God. So you want to put the vegetable in first. It's going to take the longest to marry with the others. I'm going to choose the celery because I have it in my thickest cut. My carrots are cut small, so they'll be okay. Over here, what I'll do is I'll use the carrots, since we're making 2 different ones. And again, after you put each vegetable in, stir it around a little bit, because see what's happening now is, as your meat is searing in the pan, you're getting a little coating on the bottom of that pan, and what that coating is called is fond. F-O-N-D as in dog. Fond. And what that is that's a flavor. And once you get your vegetables in there, you're creating more liquid. Liquid is coming out of the vegetables. So what it's doing is it's seeping out of the pan onto the pan surface, and it's picking up that flavor from the meat that's kind of burning onto the bottom there. You know, if you know what I'm talking about there, or if you can understand that. It's fond. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my vegetables. Little cabbage. The meat and the colors on the vegetables, there's little specks and stuff. That's all that flavor from the meat. Whoops. Lost a couple. It's nice and hot. Smells good, but once I hit it with the sauce, it's really going to smell good. Okay, so we're ready now. We got nice color on our meat, nice color on our vegetables. Use a light soy sauce to make it a little healthier for you, you can. The soy sauce is very salty, so be aware of how much you use. I'm only going to hit it a couple times because this is not my predominant flavor for the dish. And then what I'm going to be using is a la choy teriyaki sauce, and or you can use a la choy stir-fry sauce. You can pick this up in the store. Just a little bit in each one. Stir it around. That's nice. That's very nice. That looks nice, doesn't it? And that's pretty much it. Take your stir fry all the way around the edges. I'll take a little bit of both. And there you would have a nice little Asian stir fry. Very simple.
Well, kids are so great because they just love being involved in life. They love getting involved in projects. So one of the great things you can do with kids is plant a garden with them. Get out and dig in the dirt with them, and then they're just often amazed at how you can grow something out of the dirt and it turns into something delicious on your dinner table. So bringing them into the kitchen often and getting them involved in making the food, they're much more likely to try it and enjoy it. So having the kids around is a great way to get the parents back involved because it's something you can do together. and you can make it something enjoyable, something family time.
Commodity program over the years, USDA has worked extremely hard to improve not only the variety of the items that are offered, but to work towards making them healthier. Obviously with the various health issues, diabetes, and all of the issues that occur by not eating healthy, USDA is working to make all of their commodities more in line with the dietary guidelines. So less fat, less sugar, less salt, but we still want those products to be appealing and attractive to the households that are receiving those commodities. So we've got more whole grain products. We're seeing a variety of fruits and vegetables, and especially this year we're seeing lower sodium that will be offered in all of the vegetables that are being made available through USDA. I can't even express how important this program is on the reservation to these families, and the pride that comes with being able to provide a food package to a household who, without these foods, might go hungry. And it's just tremendous to have the opportunity for these tribes to be leaders. The Mountain Plains Nutrition Advisory Committee applied for this grant under USDA on a competitive basis, and they were fortunate to receive a grant. And this is the kind of success that you can have when people pull together and they work together as a team.
Right down, boys, right down. At this time, I'd like to ask Andy to come forward over here. Andy, I want to share a little story with you. I've been asking different ones about this story, if they remember it. Back in the 70s here, sometime, there was a man that came here, and later on we found out that he was a POW with Andy. And the story that he told, he was interviewed by the Devil Creek Journal, and his story was in a journal. And it is quite an honor, quite a deed for the things that he told about Andy. But wanted to make it short, the communists would move the prisoners from camp to camp. And if you couldn't keep up, if you couldn't walk, they just shot them right there. And the guy went on to tell how many times Andy carried him, how Andy brought him through. So in the Bible, it tells us that no greater love is man than to lay down your life for a fellow man. Right now, I want to make a presentation on behalf of myself, my family, because for years I grew up with the Shaw family. Andy and I are brothers. So that's why I'm here today. And at first I want to call Cletus up here. Cletus is a Vietnam vet, and I want him to present this feather to Andy. As you know, when we achieve something in life, we get a feather. Well, this is certainly deserving for such an award here, okay? There's a medicine wheel attached to the feather. And it was made by Merle McDonald, and it's got military colors on it. So next I would like to have Molly and Dinah come up and put a clip on Andy. Now Molly herself is a Navy lieutenant. Dinah is here visiting with us from Alaska. So that completes our presentation, the McDonald family.
In the summer of 2008, commodity cook-offs were held on 5 reservations in the Mountain Plains region of the USDA Food and Nutrition Service Commodity Distribution Program. Participants were encouraged to try using commodities in different ways and think about nutritional content, entering dishes low in salt, fat, and sugar, recipes that contribute to a healthy diet. Each participating program determined the categories and prizes. Judges were a mix of commodity program employees from the region. The community enthusiastically participated. The recipes had to contain at least 2 commodity foods, but seasonings and spices could be used to enhance flavor and appearance. Judges scored the entries on use of commodity foods, appearance, taste, and nutritional content. Recipes were prepared fresh on the day of the contest and brought to the site with an ingredients list.
But I think I know for a fact without these programs, a lot of our people would not be able to have food on their tables. And that's really, really important to us. And above all, these young people sitting here, we pray for this food. We pray in prayer, sharing this food to our loved ones that have gone on. So regardless what you're eating, at breakfast, lunch, or dinner, we're making an offering. And we're making an offering to have better food, better service, that food be plentiful. And that's also encouraging our young people not to play with food, not to think food is abundant because it's not. And I want to encourage again, a lot of coordination should be. And I'm not saying it's not happening either, to give that awareness to our senior citizens, to people my age that are just 31 years old, and, our young people. So, we have a lot of people, young people that are into sports here. We have a lot of good basketball players, and that's one important thing. We've got to keep them healthy. We've got to keep our children, our grandkids healthy so they could play good sports, so they could learn better. They gotta eat in the mornings to have a better learning system. So with the coordination of all these programs, it's going to be beneficial to everyone on this reservation. So I just want to say that from my personal view and feelings. And, I'm sure glad about this program, because I know it does well, good, really an important purpose for my people here in Rockville. So I just want to say that.
So probably one of the biggest things people have trouble with is eating enough fruits and vegetables. And the biggest problems in society are probably added fat and added sugar, and that would come from mostly processed foods. Cooking from scratch, for one, can help cut down on especially the added sodium. And then just for example, like tacos or goulash or sloppy joes, anything like that could be made with 10% lean ground burger instead of the 20%. You can even at some grocery stores buy the 4% fat. You can use low-fat cheese, whole wheat tortillas instead of white tortillas, a tortilla instead of a fried corn shell. Low-fat dairy products can be used. You can almost always take the same, meatloaf, enchiladas, whatever, and just use better quality ingredients to cut down on fat, sodium. You could take something like fry bread as a traditional food. We've had people here who make fry bread with whole wheat flour and they cook it in olive oil. It still becomes a sometimes food, not something that I would want to promote all of the time, but you know, again, that same concept of taking a food that you want to eat, make it a little bit healthier, make your own French fries at home by dicing a potato and roasting it in the oven. So just being cognizant of more fruits and vegetables, whole grains. You can use whole grain flour, brown rice, whole wheat pasta is readily available now. Fresh and frozen are more healthy than the canned because of sodium and added sugar. So just, you know, leaner meats, taking the skin off chicken, draining off the meat, putting the meat in a colander, running hot water over it. Those are simple things people can do even through the commodity program to reduce fat, sodium, calories. Buffalo's great. It's very lean, typically grass-fed, so it has a lot fewer fat grams, and the kind of fat that it does have is more of an omega-3 fat, which we know it protects people against heart disease, decreases inflammation. So any grass-fed animal, whether it's the buffalo on the commodity program, or if folks were to go out hunting still and get an antelope or an elk or a deer, those are grass-fed animals, and again, they have less fat and a better kind of fat.
This reservation was primarily founded by our leader, Little Bear. I'm the fourth generation of that chief. But the reservation was named Rocky Boy because the old chief also was looking for a homeland for his people. And Rocky Boy is kind of misinterpreted with the Ojibwe language. His real name was Stone Man. Asinuing means stone man. But the interpreters here said Rocky Boy. But anyway, in addition to that, you know, our reservation has grown in size and acreage. It really expanded to be a bigger and better reservation. Our economics are pretty level, but also we're really proud people concerning our educational system. Our school district, I think, is the first in the nation to become a total Indian controlled school with our own school district, our own school board. Our high school, I believe, is the third Indian high school in the nation that was established. So all of these educational institutions are under our tribal umbrella, which we're really proud of. We have a tribal government, we have a chairman, and 8 members in the business council, and we're under self-governance, which of course we have all these different departments, our own law enforcement, judicial, forestry, you name it. And also we're very fortunate due to our employment rate here that we have programs like the commodity program. I personally have seen many of our people making that their place of getting food and whatnot, and appropriately using. As we could see here today, I'm really proud of my people making somewhat their own recipes and combining their efforts and coming together, and of course under the direction of our commodity staff. And also glad that we've always had real good cooperation with our state people. Charlie Bliss, I think your name is, sir, yeah, from the state of Helena, as well as everyone else. And it's a program that I know for our reservation, our people, we cannot go without. Also, we're really rich in our culture. We're one of the very few tribes that still practice all of our religions. This week we're practicing some of our way of life in our religious form over at my place. And we're really rich in that. We're really rich in our culture. As you could hear and see the boys singing, many of our young people are doing that and following our tradition and culture. So we're really rich in that. Our language, particularly the Cree language, we're really rich in that. First got to my great-grandfather.
In the summer of 2008, commodity cook-offs were held on 5 reservations in the Mountain Plains region of the USDA Food and Nutrition Service Commodity Distribution Program. Participants were encouraged to try using commodities in different ways and think about nutritional content, entering dishes low in salt, fat, and sugar, recipes that contribute to a healthy diet. Each participating program determined the categories and prizes. Judges were a mix of tribal council members, local celebrities, and commodity program employees from the region. The Oglala Lakota Nation held their cook-off at the beautiful Siouan Big Crow Boys and Girls Club facility near Pine Ridge, and the community enthusiastically participated. The recipes had to contain at least 2 commodity foods, but seasonings and spices could be used to enhance flavor and appearance. Judges scored the entries on use of commodity foods, appearance, taste, and nutritional content. Recipes were prepared fresh on the day of the contest and brought to the site with an ingredients list.
It's a tremendous opportunity for tribes in the Mountain Plains region to have the opportunity to interact with all of the community and to invite families at all age levels, from the youth all the way up to the elderly, that can take the USDA commodities and actually prepare them in ways that are appealing and nutritious and that are fun and easy to do. So part of it is getting everyone involved, which is fabulous to see everyone coming together as a community, but also learning about the nutritional value and the benefits of the commodities, eating healthier, how you can take these USDA foods and incorporate them into recipes that are going to really be easy to do, that are acceptable food items for everyone. So it's a great opportunity for learning and sharing.
Use lower fat cuts of meat. Trim the fat off the meat first. You can cook the meat with an oil, a vegetable oil, rather than using the shortening. You could choose lots more fruits and vegetables and prepare them with just a little bit of oil, or steam them. You can bake items instead of deep fry them. So there's lots of ways that you can lower the fat. You can lower the sodium by using less sodium in cooking, use more herbs and spices, use less sodium on the table, and then lower the sugar. A lot of the sugar is in beverages, so choosing water or flavoring some soda water with lemon or lime and choosing less soda is a good way to get a lot of the sugar out. And then for desserts, try the fresh fruits rather than the high sugary baked products, cookies and cakes. So those are some of the options you can use.
There was just a tremendous variety here today, and it shows or displays what you can do with the commodities, all the way from the buffalo meatloaf to a traditional stew with the roast that is then dry meat that's put into that traditional stew. A whole variety of items with the vegetables. I saw an item here today with carrots and fruit and raisins. There was just a nice selection of different types of recipes, and it does show what you can do with the commodities, that you just don't have to open up a can, and that it's very appealing, and it's a wonderful home-cooked meal.
Well, it's very difficult to lose weight by diet alone, so exercise is very important, and that doesn't have to be hard or extreme. You can walk more, parking farther away from the grocery store, and or walking whenever you can if you don't need to use your car. Just walking around the block on your lunch break. Doing gardening is a great way to get some exercise. Joining a recreation center with a friend. So it's very hard to lose weight just by diet alone. But with the diet, you really want to look at portion sizes and increasing those foods that are high nutrient but low calorie, like the fruits and vegetables and the whole grains. You get all that extra fiber and not as many calories when you're taking out some of the sugar and some of the fat as well. But it is hard work, so getting a buddy to do that with you and taking good care of yourself, makes it a little easier. It takes 28 days to change a habit, so don't be too hard on yourself. Just work at it for 28 days, and then before you know it, it becomes a new habit to walk more and move more and eat more fresh fruits and vegetables. I think another thing too is just getting back to that good old-fashioned cooking. I think a lot of people, young people today, they don't cook as much because we've got so many convenience foods, and it's easier to pop it in the microwave than it is to find a cookbook and get the ingredients. So trying to get some family traditions back in cooking together and being in the kitchen together is another way to kind of make it fun and make those foods healthier.
The Mountain Plains Nutrition Advisory Committee applied for this grant under USDA on a competitive basis, and they were fortunate to receive a grant. And this is the kind of success that you can have when people pull together and they work together as a team. And Pine Ridge, obviously, along with the other tribes that have been instrumental and involved in this grant, are to be commended, because the commodity program is definitely something that is very much needed on the reservations, and we want to continue to provide the kinds of foods that are wanted and needed out on the reservation.
Well, it's been great to be here at Pine Ridge. This commodity cook-off was wonderful. We had some amazing food, and everyone graciously brought extra large portions so we could all get a taste. So I just thank Joe Blue Horse and the staff for inviting us.
The Siouxland Big Crow Boys and Girls Club provides critically needed services to the youth of the Pine Ridge Reservation and the Oglala Lakota people. Siouxland's life was a model for young people that encouraged educational and spiritual growth through sports, academic pursuits, and the promotion of health and wellness. The club provides recreational activities, scholarships, and opportunities to empower youth to make choices free from drugs and alcohol. The Siouxland Big Crow Club also strives to heighten cultural awareness among all peoples and encourage youth to accomplish goals and ideals that Siouxland embodied throughout her lifetime, which was much too short. Siouxland was an outstanding athlete, but more than that, a standout student, finishing first in her class. She was a friend to all, spoke out against drug and alcohol abuse, and confronted bigotry. The National Education Association annually presents an award bearing her name to someone who has made a contribution toward racial reconciliation. One of Siouxland's dreams was to establish a facility for youth on the Pine Ridge Reservation, a safe, supportive place free of drugs and alcohol, jealousy, and violence. Her vision was for a place where everyone got along and people encouraged each other. She called her vision Happy Town. After her death in an automobile accident in 1992, the community and her courageous family took action on her vision and founded the Siouxland Big Crow Boys and Girls Club and the 50s theme restaurant Happy Town USA through the generous gifts of many from across America. Her spirit lives on to inspire and comfort those who learn from her life. In the summer of 2008, commodity cook-offs were held on 5 reservations in the Mountain Plains region of the USDA Food and Nutrition Service Commodity Distribution Program. Participants were encouraged to try using commodities in different ways and think about nutritional content, entering dishes low in salt, fat, and sugar, recipes that contribute to a healthy diet. Each participating program determined the categories and prizes. Judges were a mix of tribal council members, local celebrities, and commodity program employees from the region.
You're listening to KINI 96.1 FM, Crookston, St. Francis. Remember, the Rosebud Commodity Cook-Off is to be held today, September 12th at 12 noon at the Boys and Girls Club in Mission.
The community enthusiastically participated. The recipes had to contain at least 2 commodity foods, but seasonings and spices could be used to enhance flavor and appearance. Judges scored the entries on use of commodity foods, appearance, taste, and nutritional content. Recipes were prepared fresh on the day of the contest and brought to the site with an ingredients list.
you guys all because that's good cooking. Thank you. I got it over here so you don't use it.
Well, the sharing thing is a big part. People sharing their recipes, how to prepare the foods. Gives other people good ideas. And I have a lot of other programs and program directors. I'm really thankful they helped me out. Our casino manager donated the first prize. Our tribal president's office donated the second. And a local community antelope community chair donated the third prize. We had a pretty good turnout. Had some fantastic judges. Very good recipes. The Boys and Girls Club was generous enough to let us use their facility. But I'm glad it's over. I'm hoping to make it an annual event with other programs. It's an awesome program. People really need to just give us a call, see if they're eligible. We've gotten a lot of new households recently, especially with the high food prices. A big variety. I grew up on commodities and it was nothing like this. Okay? We didn't have the fresh produce, very limited selection. The changes that have made are awesome. And one thing I have to say is the daycare deduction. Now we can use a full daycare deduction instead of just a part of it. And that helps quite a number of households. They can actually deduct the full amount of their daycare. That's a big help. Said the nutritional value in the foods that are offered: low fat, low sodium, low sugar.
The wonderful thing working with Rosebud Sioux Tribe Commodities is that our programs really complement each other, because we're making food available. We're teaching audiences the importance of making healthy food choices, but we're also showing them the healthy food that's available through commodities, because everything is very fresh. I mean, it's low fat, it's low sugar, it's fresh vegetables, it's lean meat, it's whole wheat flour, and we really complement each other in trying to provide that information to the audiences. We actually take their foods and we use those foods in our cooking classes. We try to avoid the word diet when we're working with families, because we want to think healthy. And what we're finding with audiences is we don't have a really good understanding of what a portion size is, because portion sizes have changed throughout the years. You know, you think of a 6-ounce bottle of Coca-Cola, well, now it's 32 ounces. So that's the hardest thing I think we're finding, is people understanding what is truly a serving size. Because our dishes are larger, our glasses are larger, and it's getting down to really realizing what that serving size is. Society and families are doing very good at eating whole grains, but we all tend to be lacking in vegetables. So that's the trend we see, thanks to these food recalls, is we can see what we've already doing, what we need to change. Hopefully we're making that transition to making that change by the end of the program, be it increasing our vegetable intake, our fruit intake, oftentimes even the dairy foods. We're not getting enough of those. And we find that we're getting plenty of grains, not necessarily the whole grains, and that's part of the emphasis today. We're going to talk about what is whole grains, helping them read food labels and ingredients, and also our meat and bean group, because out in the country here, we love our meat. But water, you know, our bodies are made mostly of water. So water is just as important to our bodies as eating from a variety of foods, because everything in our body works on water, and everything in our body is dependent upon the nutrients we take in from our food. But fiber itself helps prevent constipation, hemorrhoids. It decreases our cholesterol levels, decreases our risk of cancer. It just does lots of things for our body, just like water does, and that water helps that fiber move throughout our bodies. Fresh fruits and vegetables are very important to our diet, like all the other food groups are. The fruit in particular gives us lots of vitamin C, and vitamin C is so important to help us fight off infections and to prevent infection and for healing. And you know, oftentimes we get a lot of our fruit from the juices that we're consuming, our drinks. But we want to focus on eating the raw fruit in itself because we're getting the fiber from that fruit. And the vegetables, we focus on the vegetable because they're really high in fiber. They're a plant food. They're low in fat. They have no sugar. They're just a very good protectant in that they protect us from cancer. They help our body organs work properly. They're just like a superfood in what they do for our bodies.
And today we have been giving out backpacks to K through 6th graders that have been donated by the Office Depot Foundation, sponsored by the National Foundation of Women Legislators out of Washington, D.C. And we have so far given out about 1,400 backpacks to K through 6th graders. The backpacks have different supplies in them, some school supplies. We've had some of our health programs here, the diabetes prevention program. Our CHR program was here earlier, and White Buffalo Calf Women's Society, which is our domestic violence program and shelter here at Rosewood, were here as well. And they've had to go for other reasons, but diabetes prevention has stayed. We've got some books to give the kids to put in their backpacks, and so it's been a great day. We've had lots of activity going on. Both the president of the National Foundation of Women Legislators and the president of Office Depot Foundation, Robin Reed and Mary Wong, respectively, were here as well to share a program with us real briefly and talk about why they're here and some of the work they're doing. And they got to meet about 500 kids themselves, and so it's been a real good event for us. It's the first time that they've been here at Rosebud. We're the only second reservation that they reached out to in their backpack program for Office Depot Foundation. So the 2,000 backpacks we got today were a part of 1.85 million backpacks that were given by Office Depot Foundation throughout the United States this year. And only 2 reservations were recipients, and that was the Rosebud Sioux Tribe and a section of the Navajo Nation around Tuba City. So we are very, very grateful for the opportunity we've had today to, you know, bring a little light into some kids' lives and give them something to play with and something to put their stuff. There you go. You're fired. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Right on. Right on. Shawnee, what's up? How are you, Shawnee?
Okay, my name is James Vincent White Cloud Rod. I'm an enrolled member of the Iowa tribe of Kansas and Nebraska. And I know a little bit about the history of the tribe. I come from a long line of Chief White Clouds that were the head chiefs of this tribe. My father being the last chief, who died about 11 years ago. And the Iowa tribe originated, we were known as Eastern Woodlands Indians. And we originated around the Great Lakes area, north and east of Minnesota, up in that area. We were a migratory band of Indians, and we came down south. We moved from time to time, depending on the year. We come down to the state of Iowa, and we lived there for several years. And therefore, the state of Iowa is named after the Iowa tribe. Later, we roamed into northern Missouri and, well, about half of the state of Missouri. And at one time, that was our territory. Then in 1837, the Iowa tribe made a decision to sell our lands in northern Missouri, known as the Platte Purchase. And the government paid us for those lands, and they moved us across the river to our present site. And this is where our reservation is today. I think presently we have about between 2,800 and 3,000 enrolled members in the northern Iowas. And we started out as farming our own land. We learned how to live off our own land, but over the years there wasn't any steady income around here or steady work, so a lot of the Indians had to move away. And it wasn't until about the 1980s that we started getting a business here. We had a bingo parlor come in. We have a gas station. We had some kind of flaky mills. It made cereal. But anyway, it wasn't until the 80s when we got housing. So some of them started moving back here. And in the 90s, the late 90s, we got the casino, which employs about 140 people. They try to employ as many Indians or spouses as they can, and it's very convenient because it's on the reservation, and it's brought people back to the reservation to live where their ancestors lived. And as I said before, the White Cloud family was we have clans, and the Bear clan is the ruling clan of the tribe. Our third chief, White Cloud, he's basically brought us into the 20th century. He was chief from 1865, and that was after he got out of the Civil War, which he was a scout for. And then he served until his death in 1940, and he was 100 years old when he died. But he had a necklace. Well, they all had this necklace that was known as like our crown jewels of the tribe. It was a grizzly bear claw necklace. It was said to have been killed by the bear was killed by the first Chief White Cloud's father, which was Mahagwa. His name was Mahagwa. And he supposedly killed this big bear with a knife. And he was known as a brave man. So that, as his prize, he wore that necklace, and then that was passed on to all the chiefs after that. The necklace became, from my grandpa Jim White Cloud, who was the last chief to wear it, it became in the hands of another Indian, and they let it get out of their possession, which I believe it ended up in pawn shops, and then eventually a couple of museums. And then after the Native American Graves Patriation Act, we were able to claim that necklace as long as we could prove it was ours. And my father and Leon Campbell, which was chairman at the time, and now he's chairman again, they worked on that project, and they got it back, which it's over in this next building on display. But we got it back from the Detroit Museum. They had it, and we laid claim to it under that act, and it was restored back to us, and we're pretty proud of it. It's a nice looking necklace, and it's been well preserved over the years. And we're currently working on another artifact that we're trying to get back. But we haven't had any luck on that yet. It's a vest that was worn by all the chiefs when they were made chiefs. It's a beaded vest.
In the summer of 2008, commodity cook-offs were held on 5 reservations in the Mountain Plains region of the USDA Food and Nutrition Service Commodity Distribution Program. Participants were encouraged to try using commodities in different ways and think about nutritional content, entering dishes low in salt, fat, and sugar, recipes that contribute to a healthy diet. Each participating program determined the categories and prizes. Judges were a mix of tribal council members, local celebrities, and commodity program employees from the region. The recipes had to contain at least 2 commodity foods, but seasonings and spices could be used to enhance flavor and appearance. Judges scored the entries on use of commodity foods, appearance, taste, and nutritional content. Recipes were prepared fresh on the day of the contest and brought to the site with an ingredients list.
We'll start out at the top. We're going to put fresh lemon, garlic, thyme, Mrs. Dash. I'm going to use a lot of Mrs. Dash today. I'm going to use a lot of, there's a seasoned mix that I have up here that has garlic powder, onion powder, and dill, which is quite good on vegetables. Most of my products will have no salt. First we're going to start off with a lemon juice, and I'm going to use fresh lemon. Now all you have to do is remember when you cut a lemon that you have to roll it across the board like this, okay, and then you have to cut it right in half. You can go ahead and do that. Now the bottom of the recipe says I have to drain my chicken. Make sure you drain all the liquid out of there so you're not mixing that in and making it too loose. And then we went ahead and cut the lemon, so we're going to add that. Not too bad for a beginner. Okay, then we're going to put chopped fresh garlic in this. We always use chopped fresh garlic. Now the Mrs. Dash we can put in here, but we're going to put it in for our own taste. So you can put either less or more or whatever you want to do. We're going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper in. You want to do that? You can do that. Sure. And then we're going to put a 1/2 cup of yogurt in here instead of mayonnaise. Now, okay, who doesn't like yogurt? Come on. A lot of people don't like yogurt. You got to try yogurt. If you use it plain, you can put anything in it. You can put the lemon juice is going to bring out the flavor. And all the seasonings are going to bring out the flavor. But it's just going to be low fat and healthier rather than mayonnaise. Okay? Now, next we have yellow or white onion. Okay, are we going to do our yellow and white onion? Hmm? Hmm? Yeah, that I'll put in last for just decoration. Mm-hmm. Okay, now we're going to take the onion and peel it like this so it's clean, and then you show me how you do that. Yeah, show me how you do that. Cut it in half.
I like my onion big.
Okay. All right. All right, now you see how that is? She cut across the onion and then she cut across it again. Now, if I want, I can regulate the size of the onion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it on its edge. I'm going to cut it once almost all the way through. Then I'm going to use the tip of my knife. Don't come down on the knife like this, or else your onions are going to stick. And then it's going to come up and you're going to get frustrated and you'll end up using the Robocoup or something because you don't want to use the knife. So use the tip of the knife and just go like this. You can make it just as thin as you want or as thick as you want and go right across the onion like that. Now I only have to make one cut to make it just as small or as large as I want. And then how much did I have for onion? Half a cup. Okay. So now I just saved myself a step because I don't have to go through the onion again. It's already small like I want it. Is that about it? That looks pretty good. Does that look wet enough to you? Okay, now you have to get a spoon and taste it before we give it to the good people out here, or else we're all going to be in trouble if it's not any good. Okay, here you go. Okay, what do you think? We'll take a taste there and let's see what we come up with. Now this is the time you taste it and you adjust the seasonings on it. If you like a little more Mrs. Dash, then put a little more in there. If you like more dry thyme, do that. If you like more garlic, you can do that. It just depends on your taste. Now I'll taste it and see. What do you think? We need some more Mrs. Dash? And we're going to do a little bit of that. That's the fun part about cooking. You can do whatever you want. Okay? And then we're going to put a little bit more yogurt in it. Okay, now we'll mix that up. And then I'll clean up my mess. Okay. And if you could transfer that into the bowl. Sure, go ahead. All right. Now, Uta, if you would be so kind is to put little samples on each plate so everyone can come up and taste it, or would you like to pass it out, whatever? Okay, now it's time to come up and taste it. Okay, and that's fine. We'll just set that back over here. You're a good helper, aren't you?
Grapes are good. It's real good.
And I cooked them all.
Everybody thought it was excellent. It was a tough choice. There was a lot of close winners, but unfortunately we only have 3 from each category. So, to begin,
Rebecca Schlichting. This is Rebecca, and she has done a beautiful job. And she is Iowa.
yes.
Okay, and again, she is running again this year, but she has 3 beautiful contestants. She's got some competition here. And let me do some introductions. Ruby Jean White Cloud Rod from the Iowa tribe. Walk on out there, Ruby. Go on out a little ways.
13 years old. Beautiful. I don't know who did her dress, but they are to be commended. She is Iowa. Alexis Delaney, Kickapoo. Again, you can see how pretty she is in her dress, the jingle style. She too is 13. Nina Lockman, again, Kickapoo. Walk out there a little ways, Nina. Let them see you. All right. She is 15. I know she has humor. I just mentioned a while ago, I asked them to come up front and sit down, and she said on the ground. But these are your contestants, and we wish them all well. We have our judges, but audience, pick your champion. Let's give them a hand. Four very beautiful young ladies. They went through some good questioning here, and from up here, they all did real well with their answers. Now, like I said, we have our judges, but audience, now you pick your champion. The winner and still champion, Rebecca. Like I said, you know, I've heard comments from the committee about Rebecca, and I've seen her dance, and she is a very, very good representative for this area. And she will do you proud again, I know, for one more year. All right, one more time, let's give our contestants a hand.